Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now she's the star of Merlin and Supergirl. She's here for a chat.
We're only delighted joining us to talk about a role in a new movie and her illustrious international acting career. Katie McGrath, hello, how are you?
How's it going?
Good morning.
We're doing Jurassic Park later on, so we'll talk about your iconic scene in Jurassic Park. It's so nice to have you here because I remember, like, back in the day, you being like seeing Irish people in the Tudors, and we were like, that one's Irish, that one's Irish, that one's Irish, because it was obviously filmed in Wicklow, and that's where you got your break.
Yeah, it was. It was like pretty much my first job, but I started crew on it, so that was the sort of weird jump where I went from behind camera to front of camera.
What?
I know. It was never really the plan, but it now nearly 15 years.
So what do you mean? Yeah, you were behind the scenes.
Yeah,
initially.
I worked costume.
Right.
And like, I was kind of looking at the actors and, you know, they were like sitting under umbrellas and people were bringing them tea. And I was like, this is much easier than getting up at 4 a.m. and lacing girls into corsets. And then a couple of the producers were like, oh, you should give it a try. And then they they asked me to do all of the press photos. So like the billboard in Times Square and all of that. And I wrote a really bad letter to all the agents in Ireland telling them why I should be an actor. And my brother found it, like, a year or two ago and framed it and gave it to me. It's mortifying. I cannot believe I sent it out. But then I ended up getting an agent, and sort of the next year I got on the Tudors, and because I knew everyone, one of the drivers gave me a confidential cast list. And so I wrote to all the agents on that and got picked up.
Like, you ended up working as you were one of Henry...
Not what you know, it's who you know.
It's 100%. And right place, right face, right time. It's all luck. And I was just very, very lucky.
And then when you were, like, because you worked with him quite a few times, you were one of Henry VIII's mistresses, one of his numerous with Jonathan Rhys-Meyers, which is quite a big job to get when you've made a jump from behind the scenes to front of camera.
Yeah, but Johnny was a really nice guy and he was really sweet, and he knew me from the year before, so he was really nice to me, and everybody really looked after me. And I had got, in the vein of the Tudors, a sex scene. And so I have a large tattoo on my back, and they covered it up because obviously it's Tudors time and nobody has tattoos. But it took so long to film. By the time we got to filming, all the makeup had come off.
Oh, no.
So I didn't have to get naked. So one of the few people on Tudors who didn't have to get naked.
Winner.
I know, so...
You're good. Mom can watch it.
I know.
Mom can watch it.
Maybe
it's going to be okay.
No.
Maybe not.
Did she?
Just because you didn't want her
I've
to see
never
the...
asked her, but I'm assuming she probably did. But it doesn't show anything.
So it's
Because
fine.
I had
The
makeup
tattoo.
issues.
Tattoo.
It's a great way out of getting out of
Never
those
thought about
scenes,
that.
isn't
Exactly.
it?
This is what I thought. Genius. I spent the whole weeks running up dieting and freaking out, and then by the time we got to do it, they're like, we can't.
We can't do anything. There you go.
So listen, you're part of a new movie at the minute. You're back in Ireland at the minute, Brown Bread.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Brown Bread is directed by Sean O'Connor, who you say you know, who's her first sort of into narrative. She's been a journalist,
Yeah.
and so she's obviously amazing at eliciting emotional responses and things like that. And she's written a short, sort of giving you a modern take on immigration, because I think the idea of Irish immigration is very different now. You know, back in the day, you would say goodbye to your family, and you wouldn't necessarily see them again. But now so many people are coming home. You know, like, I mean, I lived away for 15, 16 years and I came back a year ago.
Yeah.
And most of my friends have come home. And it's that dynamic of being successful away and families being proud of that, but still wanting you to come back. And then when you come back, it doesn't matter how big and impressive you are, you're still a daughter or a sister or whatever, and you still slip back into those family dynamics. You know, like Christmas. It's always a nightmare.
A nightmare.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you go back to kind of being a teenager when you're at home with your parents and you kind of can't help it. But in this, you're working with Fionnuala Flanagan, who's been working at home a good bit recently. She was in Four Mothers as well. What was that like?
She's amazing. She's kind of terrifying at first because you can't tell whether she hates you. Because she's got this really dry sense of humour and, like you were saying, like these amazing eyes, and she's just deadpan. So it takes a while for you to realise, oh, no, she's actually really nice. Yeah. And she's just taking the piss out of me.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
And she's fantastic. It seems like she's just going and going and going. And we've heard from, you know, we've had people in here who were on with her. Panty Bliss was in just saying the stories that woman has. If you can get her to sit down and tell you a story.
Because I feel really left out because apparently she's got loads and is really good with the gossip, and I didn't get any of that. So maybe she really did not like me.
It's been the inner sanctum.
Do you know what I
for this,
mean?
you see.
Maybe I just didn't make it.
Oh man, no, you did.
Well, we have a little clip of brown bread. Let's take a look at it.
You know I left my job in New York, right? We're not getting any younger. God, why did you bring me up this way if you didn't want me to leave and do better for myself?
Let's cut our high flyer some slack.
Plenty do fine at home. I mean, most mothers would kill to have an ambitious daughter. Family is all we have in the end.
Listen, you can resonate with this, as you
Yeah.
just said. Like, you've been away for 15 years, you're back home at the minute. Are you back in your old bedroom? Is
Nearly.
The poster still on the wall?
Nearly. It's pretty weird, yeah. Though our house is, you know, obviously sort of changed since I grew up, so it doesn't feel exactly the same, but it is, you know, it's an odd feeling.
I can imagine it is, because we just heard Dermot Crowley there, the legendary Dermot Crowley, say, leave our high flyer alone. Because you were in a big American production, Supergirl, for years. Lena Luthor.
I know.
Like the bad guy. Yeah, come on, would you stop? That's got to be an experience and a half.
Yeah, for sure.
So a big production like this, where everything is like that, you got to sit down, people bring you cups of tea.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had to do nothing.
Nothing. Get ready for scenes and off you go.
Yeah.
What's it like? Because the fandom is very intense for something like this.
Yes. For that and for Merlin, I've done quite a lot of sort of genre shows, which have a very big sort of fan following. And I've been lucky. I've had nothing but positive experiences. But, you know, then you come home. It was always like my brothers had this idea that, like, we've got to keep her on the ground, you know, we've got to keep her feet grounded. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't mean I have to do, like, all the housework and wash the floors. Can we not all share this a bit now? No, but they're all very, very proud of me. But it is a strange experience to go from something so different to being back here, but it's lovely. Yeah. Like it really is. I feel very lucky that I've been able to do it and be able to come home and be here and to do a job like Brown Bread with Shauna and Julie, who is our producer. They were so sensitive and so knowledgeable and so wanted to tell a modern immigration story, one that we all recognise and one that our generation is familiar with. And I think this does that so well. And when I read the script, I signed on immediately. I read it, and within 10 minutes, I'd called my agent and said, I just want to do it. It's a beautiful story.
It's a story that connects with so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, so many families now have kids who have gone off to Australia. I mean, the numbers who are going off to Australia and stuff at the minute. So exactly, it is a story that resonates.
But it's also the ones that are coming back as well, that have been away for so long, and now, for whatever reason, they want to come back to Ireland. And
For whatever reason, we've come back.
We all come back.
Lasting a year.
Like, I mean, if you ever talk to an Irish person who lives away, they always refer to Ireland as home.
Yeah.
Always. It never changes. No matter how long you're away, they're like, oh, I'm going home for Christmas. And I think that's a very specifically Irish thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think people are now wanting to come back.
And how is it going to be for you? Because obviously there's an awful lot that is going on production-wise in Ireland, in Europe, like being based here. Like, you've done really big things. You did the John Wick TV series, The Continental, which was huge. Huge.
I know.
Wow.
Huge.
And again, we're kind of like, oh, sure, you're back in your mum's house as well. It is kind of come back down to earth all the time.
Yeah, which is lovely, I think.
It's lovely.
No, but I do. I feel very lucky that I'm able to be here, and I've got my friends here, and I can still slot back in here and have the life that I always had before.
Can we have to ask you about, we had Brian Lloyd dressed up as a bloody dinosaur earlier on for the new remake of Jurassic Park. You were part of the last one. I watched a clip last night of how they killed you in that, but that was epic.
You know, when I got the job, it wasn't in the script. She was like, the character had 2 lines.
Because you were Bryce Dallas Howard's assistant, and you have a bigger role, like.
Yeah, so it wasn't when I auditioned. That wasn't what it was. And I got the job, and the director was like, listen, we're going to be doing this really, really big stunt. It's going to be so memorable. Everybody's going to talk about it. And I'm on the phone going, yeah, whatever, sure. He goes, I want an actor that's going to do most of the stunt. And you're like young, and it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, sure, I'll do whatever. Yeah. And I had no idea what I was agreeing to. Like, none. And then it sort of steamrolled.
It sure did.
Yeah, and it got bigger and bigger as the shoot went on. So, Yeah, it was a...
Did you have whiplash from seeing the pull and the crane and stuff? We just saw
did you show the bit where I run into like a whole group of people with the kids?
Yeah.
So you ran in, and that was like 250 extras. And I run in, and I've got a harness underneath my costume, and the camera spins around the kids. And one of the extras, which you don't realise, is a stuntman, and he has to, in the right amount of time, get in and hook me in properly before the camera catches him. Oh. And then they pulled me up, what was it, 40 feet.
What do you mean hook you in?
So I'm wearing a harness underneath, and he's got wires, and he runs in and hooks the wires to the harness and then gets out of the way. The camera finds me again and just jerks me back like 100 feet and up 40 feet in the air.
It's so cool.
But then you're kind of just hanging there when they've stopped, and you're just like, all these extras are just looking up at you, like just hanging back and forth.
It's like a ballet, like the stuff that you have to do. It's so amazing. Listen, the world premiere of Brown Bread, the short film, it's going to be at Galway Film Flat on Wednesday, July 9th. Welcome home. Congratulations on the film. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Katie McGrath, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Great to have you with us.
He's going to be thinking about being hooked in and flung 40 feet for the rest of the day.
That's insane.